Good morning, folks. Today is the August 19th, 2022. Welcome to the Cloud Provider AWS subproject meeting. Please be respectful with your communication and adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. I am Kishore Joshi, your host for today. So let's add the agenda for today's meeting here. If you're not already.
Sure. Do you have the ability to share a screen? If not, I can.
No, let me share my screen. Sorry. Oh, it says host disable participant screen sharing.
Okay. Let me make you co-host.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead and try.
Thank you. You guys can see my window here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's go through the sub-project updates. CCM.
I guess my update that I put in the generic agenda. Yeah, we just need a new build for 123 at least, and I'll have to see what other versions. So I'm planning on doing that today.
Thank you. And this covers the issue that we recently encountered, right? The NLB issue.
Yeah, NLB issue, and also Pratik has the STS rate limiting or what, throttling issue or whatever it is.
I see. Okay, I've seen that full PR as well. Okay, cool. KOps, Justin.
Yeah, nothing particularly AWS specific this week. Of general interest, though, is this run-C regression around execute TTY, which we are grappling with for 124. I will try to find a link and paste it into the notes for anyone that is interested or may have a solution other than asking run-C nicely to do a new release. I think they're aware of it. So.
Cool, thank you. So next, load balancer control. So we released the V243 patch release. Nothing major changes, but we added some error handling, more resiliency on certain cases, and a bunch of community contribution out there. 243 is out. Anybody from Carpenter?
I don't think so. Maybe we should remove Carpenter until folks starts joining.
Yeah. Do you know who can we invite that would be willing to, like, who's
So in the Carpenter team, we have few folks. If we want somebody from PM side, it would be Alex, or engineering side would be either Ellis, Brandon, Nick. So those guys I can think of.
Okay.
There's also a few more new folks who joined Carpenter team. So I don't know if they will be interested. But yeah, these are the old timers.
Okay. Yeah, I'll maybe either me or you can extend the invite and see if they want to send someone.
Sure. Yeah.
Any pull requests that we want to discuss today?
See there, I did see something. I saw Cyprian had given the LGTM. I got some pings this morning. I'm like tagging controller had a bug. Maybe we should just look at that. If you want to open up the CCM really quick and see.
Here, give me a sec. Here, right?
Yeah, so this top one by Sarov. Leaks node objects. Controller runs into errors when trying to tag the instances underlying those. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Is this
That-
specific to like CCM or like did KCM also had similar issues, or this is only specific to CCM? Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's a great question. I wonder if Sarov has opened an issue upstream as well. Might be worth asking. See, yeah, I guess I'll comment on that and see.
Sure.
But it looks like this is just focused on air handling.
Yeah, this entirely looks like error handling to me, exactly. So we are ignoring the instance not found error. That's all we're doing here, right?
Yeah, if instance not found, return nil, otherwise return error. Couldn't. Yeah,
Yeah, doesn't look any complicated to me. I will also check like whether it's CCM specific or how we have been doing in the entry, the KCM earlier. We're not going to backport it or anything. It will likely merge this and move on.
yeah, yeah,
The one concern, the one concern I have is it sounds like this was a specific problem with nodes, and that this tag resource is called from a bunch of places. And the one thing I think we would want to be careful of is, for example, if there was an async or eventually consistent API, like, IAM sometimes doesn't show things right away, or did at least used to not show things right away, we would probably lose the ability to retry, maybe. So the alternative way to do this would be, for the specific case, when we're calling tag resources or untagged resources, to check for this particular error on the call site. But I do kind of agree that I think this is probably a pretty good idea. Like, I think this tagging is pretty much best effort anyway, but it's worth checking where it is called. Okay.
yeah, that's a really good point. Do you want to comment that, Justin, or do you want?
I don't have logged in here. I log in from a different window, so
Okay.
I'll take the notes. I can comment later on as well.
That's fine. I'm commenting to just make sure that they reported the node lifecycle controller issue upstream, and have them link the issue. I can also mention what Justin said.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other pull request that we want to talk about here?
I don't have anything in mind.
Okay.
I guess, yeah, just like me and Pratik are, I think, looking at the cherry picks that he opened, they're failing on some, like the EDE tests are failing or something. So we need to figure out what's going on there.
Cool. I have a question for Justin. Earlier, like John from KOps team was talking about like how we want to include the load balancer controller with KOps as a add-on. And he also brought about like disabling the cloud provider, the load balancer code in the CCM. So that is something that we want to look into as well. So we want to also have like the load balancer controller as like a managed add-on, which is available by default. So any thoughts on that from your side, from the KOps?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nick, you integrated the cloud provider AWS in the past, so you probably have the most like direct experience of someone like adding something there. You'd be very welcome to. That would be wonderful. We also are working on more what we call sort of additional objects or external objects. So the idea that if the load balancer controller had a something like component config, you could sort of configure it that way without having to necessarily integrate it as tightly into the KOps API or into the one day or as tightly into the KOps code. We aren't totally there yet, and that's still feature flagged. So we're sort of in between the two worlds. Okay. But you know, if you'd be welcome to do either one, and I'm happy to sort of give you pointers if need be. Like more detailed pointers if need be.
So component config is like a KOps specific resource?
No, so I mean, component config is this idea in upstream Kubernetes of replacing flags with something which looks like a CRD. It's actually a file, but it is, I think it uses the API machinery. So it is a typed and versioned object. It's sort of like scheduler moved to it fairly. We had an issue in KOps where scheduler basically deprecated a bunch of functionality from flags, and you had to start using the scheduler config YAML or file, and that was unfortunate because we didn't transition in time.
Okay.
So some people, but yes, it's basically a YAML configuration file instead of flags.
Cool. Sure, I will definitely look into it because that's the direction that we want to head into as well. Because like the load balancer code in the cloud provider, we haven't been updating it recently. So we want to replace that particular component with the LBC because that's where most of the active development takes place for us.
Yeah, cool. I mean, and you can also like in the interim, you can also just add to the cloud provider configuration in the KOps. I guess it's the KOps cluster object, and you know if there's a flag, we can pass that flag to turn off the load balancer controller or whatever it is. So
I see. Nothing in the immediate roadmap, right, for the KOps?
I don't think we have that strict a roadmap, but if John is talking about it, it might happen soon.
Yeah, he was talking like few months ago, I assume, but not sure. I can reach out to him once I start like the EKS side of the work. Then I can definitely coordinate with him on this.
Yeah, that'd be great. It'd be great to coordinate generally. Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else, or we can close the meeting?
Just on that note, do we want to pack it? Like, I feel like we want most cases users to install CCM and the load balancer controller together. So like, you know, COPS is one situation. Do we also want to, like, I don't know, somehow have a packaged installation method for users who are not using EKS and not using COPS? Or do we just expect?
So we'll provide the options. That's the best thing we can hope, right? Because different distributions have their own, or packaging have their own rules and requirement. We'll enable them. but will not go and modify like all the possible packages out there. Maybe the popular
Yeah.
ones, KOps, EKS, like these are the ones that that are more popular. Will do something there. For other users, we'll let it up to the maintainers to pick it up. At least we'll have the option. So we'll say, okay, this is the one, this is the way that we want to move forward. And
Yeah, I'm thinking of users who come to, I don't know, maybe they're, you know, they have some way of setting up a cluster. They come to the CCM repository and they install it somehow. Right now, there's not a lot of information about the load balancer controller from that direction. So maybe even it's just like documentation, we just add good documentation on LBC, you know, from the CCM repository or something like that.
sure. So once we provide the flag, right? So then we can make it disable it by default. That way, like the users will be forced to do something about it, right? Either go ahead and enable the flag or install the LBC. So at least some action that we can provoke from the user side. That's my thought process right now. Then that point we can definitely like start adding the documentation.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. Thank you, folks. Have great rest of the day and the weekend. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone.